Good evening. Welcome to the John Gaunt podcast. Plenty to talk about tonight. Lucy Connolly, Starmer's political prisoner, has been released. The asylum crisis, though, is getting worse. Yes, we were celebrating Epping, but mark my words, they're going to put them in houses next door to you, in homes of multiple occupation. Starmer is silent on all this. Why? I'll tell you why. Because this is an establishment stitch up of the white working class again. Keep watching, keep listening, and I'll explain why. Good evening to you all. Hope you've had a good day, but let's get talking. So it's Starmer. It's Lucy Connolly. She should never have been in prison in the first place, in my opinion. What she said was horrid. We all know that. We're not going to go over that again, but she apologised and she took it down. Found out today that Starmer, of course, he recommended that when he was the director of public prosecutions. He said if somebody said something, as long as they retracted and apologised quickly, then they shouldn't get the full weight of the law on them. But of course, that wasn't the case when he became Prime Minister. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Lucy Connolly has walked free. But the asylum crisis in the United Kingdom or Britain has never looked worse. Not just because of what's happened at Epping. And as I predicted, every single one of those hotels, it looks like, did not apply for planning for change of use. I said this last night. I had a tip-off from a very well-placed source. And have you noticed today the mainstream media and the political chattering classes haven't said much about this? But that's the reality. They've got a major problem now. We thought it was 25,000 migrants in these hotels. It turns out by their own figures, which were released today, there's 32,000 illegals living in hotels paid for by you and me. And you know what? Epping have already said they've got to be out within 14 days. Every other council, including Labour councils, with mates like that, you don't need enemies, do you, Sir Keir? They're also saying they're going to go for the same level, the same line. The only way Starmer can save his neck on this issue is to change the law, which then effectively he'll be doing that to the British population. He'll be taking us all on. So he's panicking today. There's reports in some of the papers that he's got Serco offering massive bribes to take on houses from private landlords. He's going to put them next door to you and your children. They won't be next door to him. Mind you, his door's... No, that door didn't get attacked, did it? Downing Street. But he's not going to put them next to him. They're going to be next to you. It's an absolute disgrace. And then the numbers came out for the past 12 months while Starmer was in charge, and it's never looked worse. The numbers for illegal migrants are just exploding. 111,000, right, applications for asylum in the last year, with a massive 32,000 illegal migrants in hotels. These are the government's figures. And we're still blowing nearly £5 billion of your money on this broken system. Not just a broken system, a system that Sir Keir Starmer refuses to fix. Dead easy. By the way, that's a percentage rise of 14%. 111,000 people. That's the biggest number ever since records began. We're going to stop the boats. We're going to crush the avocado. All you're doing is bashing your metaphorical bishop, Starmer. You are you-know-what. You're not getting on top of this. So what's Sir Keir Starmer done? I've been calling for him to address the nation since last night. Is he doing that? No. He's doing absolutely sweet F.A. I think he's probably gone back on his holiday. He's probably got to get a cold sore remedy anyway. He's doing nothing. He's silent. There's no leadership. Let's just get this right now. There isn't a leadership. There's no plan. He's got no answers. What he should be doing is shouting, deport, deport, deport. If you agree with me, get on the program now. Write a little comment at the bottom of the screen and I will read it out and it will fuel our discussion. But we are up the creek without a paddle. So tonight we're going to ask the questions that he won't. We're going to answer some of them as well. We're going to tell you the truth that the mainstream media won't touch. I'm telling you now, absolutely convinced there's a conspiracy with the MSM, the big broadcasters, the big papers, and the tabloids, of course, as well, and Starmer. He's probably called them in, or one of his underlings have, and they've said, look, this could kick off, this could lead to riots. Well, no wonder, Starmer. You've deceived us. You've got all these people in the hotels, which we're paying for. They've been committing crimes. And if we dare to say anything, not all of them, obviously, but if we dare to say anything, we're called waithists. Even the BBC today are still saying, well, there was riots. They're not saying, yeah, they were started by the idiots of Antifa. They're still blaming ordinary mums and dads who are just there wanting to protect their mums, their mothers, their sisters, their daughters, and their children from undocumented men. I'm not saying all of them are rapists or sex offenders. How could I? I don't know. But nor can Keir Starmer say they're all as pure as the driven snow. He can't say that because he hasn't got an effing clue who's come into our country. I say scrap all passport controls. If you go to Spain this year, don't bother with your passport. Just go. What? They won't let you back in? They'll let in some jerk from Africa. They won't let you in. You are being defrauded. This is what it is. I didn't believe all this conspiracy nonsense, and I still don't really. But I'm telling you now, from my experience of the mainstream media, when they get a real problem, they call the editors in. It's not that they put a D notice. You don't need that anymore. It's like a cozy little comfy club. Look, we don't want riots. It's going to kick off. Well, it isn't. Well, even if it did, it'd be your fault, Starmer. And this is where Lucy Connolly comes into the equation. Lucy Connolly made one tweet or Facebook post. We can all agree it was horrid. She went too far in the heat of the moment, right? She then got bad advice by some stupid brief who told her to confess. And this is where people say, she confessed, that's the end of it. No, it's not. Because if you knew a bit about the law, you'd know to sit on your hands. Just like Ricky, the trade union guy did. I made the allegation the other day he'd have had top-level KCs looking after him. I see now people are saying that's correct, right? Just like last night, I was saying every bloody hotel won't have planning, and I'm correct again. Why the hell haven't I got a massive audience, and why aren't I on mainstream? Probably because I would upset the comfy club. Maybe that's all it can be. Because in terms of picking the news and knowing what's happening, seeing between the lines, I'm pretty good at it. And I'm telling you, as Johnny Rotten said, ever got the feeling you've been cheated? Ever got the feeling you've been conned? And that's what's happening. Because poor old Lucy, she got sent down for 31 months. She's done 9. She's out today. She can't make a big fuss because she's on license. So I would imagine if she kicks up, he'll chuck her back in. He's saying there's no two-tier involved in this. But I remember, first of all, he's saying, or the judges were saying, it was her tweet that provoked people to start rioting. Absolute bullshit. It was down within 3.5 hours, which Starmer said back 10, 15 years ago, you shouldn't get prosecuted for. She realised her mistake. She was a political prisoner. They wanted to make an example of her. Do you remember Starmer couldn't get any words out of his feeble little left-wingy woke gob, could he, when he went to see Southport? In fact, he did the opposite. When those ladies started shouting at him, he turned on his heels and he ran away. He got back in his armoured Range Rover. And when you saw the documentary on Channel 4, the only programme they've made recently that's any good, which was all made up of video clips from people's phones, it was clear his arse cheeks were clanging, he cacked himself, and he ran away. Instead of going over to that woman who was wailing and saying, my best friend's daughter was murdered yesterday by that savage, he ran away. Tony Blair, look, whether you like him or not, would have gone over, put an arm around her, and he would have said something like, I'm your Prime Minister, and look at me now. I promise you, this will never, ever happen again whilst I'm the Prime Minister. He's very fond of that line about the first duty of a government is the protection of its citizens. I don't think he can read because he doesn't believe it. The first duty of him is to look after himself and look after the feral, the foreigners, the feckless, and the freeloaders. Look at a benefits bill. Just look at everything that he's done since he's got in. Hard-working pensioners, I'll have the money off them. Now he's going for this tax on property for people who've got nice houses. He's a two-bit socialist. He's a jumped-up little schoolboy. The grown-ups are in charge. No, they're not. So going back to Lucy, she was made an example of because he had no words for the people of Southport who suffered the atrocity by Rudy Cabana. No, I'm going to talk about him in a minute as well. No words for them whatsoever. But do you remember he went on telly and he called everybody who protested far-right thugs? And that's become the term, hasn't it, of abuse for anyone who says, I don't want my daughter to get raped in an alleyway while one man chokes her and another one rapes her orally and indeed vaginally. I don't want that. And I don't think anybody wants that. And you should be able to say it. But no, you're far right. Just like now, the people who are putting up the flags, they're far right. No, they're not. They're patriots. And Lucy is not a criminal. She's a political criminal, a political prisoner, and thank God she's released. And Lucy, my only advice to you would be very careful because you need to stay now with your family. Don't let them put you down. Don't give them the excuse. And then people say, no, it wasn't two-tier because Ricky, he elected to go for a jury. Lucy didn't understand clearly because then she did her appeal and then the judge used evidence she'd said before against her again. Political prisoner. Not quite on the scale of, well, actually, I think it's more clear-cut than Tommy Robinson. I think it was and is a political move. Not because Starmer's rung the judges up, but they all know because he doesn't fail to tell everyone. He used to be the director of public prosecutions for years. He didn't manage to prosecute Jimmy Savile because he didn't come across his desk. There's a joke there, but we'll leave it for tonight. So I'm saying she was political, a political prisoner. And she comes out today, and how odd that she's come out on the very day when the heat was on Starmer. Starmer would have known yesterday, just like he knew on the day that Rudy Cabana killed those little innocents and ruined the lives of all those other little girls and the whole population of Southport. Yes, the trauma he has put that community in. He knew on the day that he wasn't a migrant. He knew on the day that MI5 had picked up the document proving he was trying to learn about terror. He would have known on the day. And so would that snivelling little shit, Yvette Cooper. I see she's put out a statement today. Why aren't they on the telly? Why isn't there a press conference? The United Kingdom is in crisis. And then, of course, they would have known these figures were coming out today. And these figures are just, I'm coming to your comments in a moment. These figures are just unbelievable. They were bad under the Tories as well, don't get me wrong. but 111,000 asylum applications in the last 12 months since Starmer's been in charge. I thought he was going to smash the boats, smash the gangs, whatever he was going to do. And of course, the Conservatives can say they were reducing the numbers. And if Rwanda had happened, they say that figures would have gone right down. I don't know if that's the truth. I don't believe any of them. What I do know is these figures at least will be somewhere near the truth. They're probably underestimated, but they're saying 111,000 asylum applications. There's not that much war going on. It's just ludicrous. And they're coming from France, which last time I looked is a safe country. They should be staying there. The French are taking the piss as well, taking our money. 32,000 people, illegal people, men of fighting age, mostly, are housed in these hotels. That's an 8% increase in the last 12 months. Not that you'd know this on the BBC. Yesterday, I was listening to the BBC, that Nana or whatever, Naga Manchuti. I've done telly with her quite a few times. She's a right arrogant sod, let me tell you, right? Up herself. She really is. But she was on there with somebody called Sanford. I didn't get his first name, some no mark. And they were talking in hushed voices about how most of these, but what's it really like in these hotels? Oh, well, did you know, Naga, they don't have the swimming pool and the gym's closed. Hang on, my heart's bleeding. They've come from living in the jungle in France, living in tents. And you're worried that we're not filling up the swimming pool. I know they've got nothing to do all day. I'll tell you what they could do. They could go fucking home if they don't like it. We're not treating them poorly. I've had enough of this crap. And the BBC was pure liberal, uber liberal tosh yesterday. No attempt at balance. They then got this bloke on. He was from Chad. That's where he's from. Anyway, he tells his story, and his story was quite true. They're quite interesting. And then she says, well, how long have you been here? How long ago was this? 2005. They haven't got somebody from the hotel who was living there now. 2005. Naga. I failed my maths O-level, but even I know that's 20 years ago. You dopey mayor. And you're acting as if this guy is chief witness for the prosecution against all as far right. Let me make it clear where I stand on this. I want people to be assessed. The ones who are here, we have to do that. And then if they have to go, we take them back. If they stay or they've got a skill we want, they can stay. But what we have to do is reduce the number, because sending one back, 17 in, or whatever the deal is with France, isn't going to solve it. Deport, deport, deport. But be humane. Get them out of the hotel. Well, funny enough, they're going to have to be out of the hotels. All of the hotels are going to be closed down. But before we all start celebrating on some cheap Prosecco, I did say this, I think, yesterday or the day before, we've got to realise where they're going to put them. Houses of multiple occupation. Now, the allegation against 2 Afghans in Nuneaton of rape against a young British girl, I think she was 14 is the allegation. Those 2 who are alleged to have done it, and I say alleged because they're going to have a court case. One lived in one house of multiple occupation in Nuneaton, just down the road from me, and another one lived in a road just beyond him. So do you want that living near you? And I don't think that's racist to say, I don't want to know, I want to know who my neighbours are. I don't think that's racist. Because if you asked, I saw that Matthew Stadlen or whatever his name is on GM News, GB News, and he was saying, why do you don't normally ask who your neighbours are, and it's such a load of poncy, pricky nonsense that he comes out with. You do if people in the community are being sexually assaulted and raped, and you do, Matthew, if you didn't live in your gilded cage, because of course you went to public school, you went to Cambridge, the last job you had was for the BBC. You were like a little poxy researcher for Andrew Neil. How do I know that? Because you set up a few films that I made for it. See, you forget this, Matthew. I know who you are. I know you, mate. And then you pontificate now on the telly as if you're all seeing, all knowing. You're a jumped up or researcher. Next job, anyway, shut up job. So anyway, so he is saying, so my question to people like him would be, do you know who they are then? Here's the boat. I keep using this analogy. Here's the boat. There's 80 people in the boat. Matthew, tonight, you tell me, tonight, you can be Inspector Clouseau. Tell me, Matthew, out of that 80, which one's the rapist? He'd say, don't be so stupid. That's a stupid. No. Tell me, out of that 80, where 2 of them come from and that you know for definite. Tell me their criminal history. Tell me their family. And the answer is he would have no answer, just like no politician's got an answer. And I say that's playing a Russian roulette with your lives. And all the evidence that's come out overnight now about these figures, about the fact they've asked Serco already to try and buy up houses, it's clear what's going to happen. And I'll tell you the third part of that jigsaw, and I've got this on very good authority. They're going to lower the criteria for how people can stay so that they can get through the backlog quicker. It's a bit like Boris did when he let in everybody a few years ago. So they're going to do you that way. So soon they're going to turn around and say, hotel spending's gone down. Well, they're empty. Hotels are empty. Isn't that good? I did that. Well, you didn't actually. It was Epping Council and all the other effing councils who jumped on board. You didn't do anything, Starmer. You were forced into it. Just like you're going to be forced into saying soon, very soon, this word, deportation, because there's no other answer. We're spending $5 billion on the asylum system. So there is talk of secure detention camps. Now Kemi's talking about it. Other people, I've been talking about it for weeks. Why don't they just listen to me? I'd have sorted it out. And they're talking about deportations like Greece has done, who has massively got rid of people turning up on their doorstep unwanted. Like America, 95% drop in illegal migration since the Donald got into power. But Starmer, he remains silent. He had enough time to go and be like a cabin boy for Donald Trump with his coalition of the useless the other day, didn't he? Even with his cold sore. I wonder how he got that. But he hasn't got time for you. He hasn't even got time to appear on the telly and say, this is how we're going to get out of this mess. So where's the plan? Where's the leadership? I think the public want tougher action to deter these, not just the dangerous crossings, but the dangerous people. How many of them are terrorists? How many of them? Do you understand what I'm saying? And all of this, I say to you again, I don't think they're all baddies. They're not all wrong uns. They're not all bad uns. But the absolute truth is they're all anonymous. We don't know who they are. But whereas Lucy Connolly, hardworking woman, makes one mistake and she goes to prison. Well, it's kind of familiar, this, isn't it? It's always the freeloaders, the feckless, the foreigners, the feeble who get everything. And you just keep paying more. So what do you think? Should Starmer speak out about Lucy Connolly? I think he should. And what about the asylum chaos? Of course he should. And of course, this weekend we'll have Notting Hill. I'm a big fan of the Notting Hill Carnival, by the way. But he's keeping quiet about that as well, isn't he? Because he knows that's going to hit the fan. But 111,000 people in the last 12 months have claimed asylum in our country. It's just moronic. No one could believe that's going to be genuine. 32,000 illegals in our hotels, billions spent. But Keir Starmer, he's saying nothing. He was very quick after Rudy Cabana killed those girls, wasn't he? Not to condemn him, but to condemn people who protested about it. And have you seen him? He threw boiling water over some of his guards. They've now given him all his privileges back. He's got a colour telly in his cell. Nintendo, or whatever the latest computer game is. He's allowed to have sweets. He should have been given the Saddam shuffle, but he's getting treated pretty well. But of course, when not Victoria, that wasn't that one, was it? Who was it? Naga, when Naga talks about this on Radio 5 Dead, she'll be making the point that he's got a terrible life because he's locked up for the rest of his life. Well, thank fucking God he is. But that'll be the angle from her. Mark my words. They always think more of the villain than the victim. The BBC are institutionally on the side of the bad uns, the wrong uns, the feral, the feckless, the freeloaders, and the newly arrived foreigners. Have I gone too far? What do you think? Oh, there is a little chink of light. Just before I came on air, I checked this. Graham Stringer, who is a Labour MP, he's saying, and he's the first MP on Keir Starmer's side, although I don't think there's anybody on his side now. He's the first person to say, we've got to rip up the ECHR, the EHCR, whatever it is, European Human Rights Act. But we need to do more than that. We need to properly leave the EU, and we haven't. I've also got to say a big thank you to, I did write his name down. Oh, I've lost it now. I'll find it later. Mark, who gave me a super thanks this afternoon. It's the first one I've had when we're on air. I thought you couldn't donate money on YouTube unless it was live at the time, but you can. So now you've got no excuse. So thank you very much indeed. Right, let's get to your comments. Anything you want to say, get it off your chest. And I hope you enjoyed or agreed or partly agreed with my analysis. They are going to put them all in homes of multiple occupation next to you. They're going to do nothing to make your kids any safer, but you dare say anything naughty and you're going to jail. Do not pass go. Do not pass. Do not pick up your benefits. Oh, that was the other thing. That Sanford guy on the BBC, yeah, they don't get any money. Then later on he said, oh, they get 49 quid a week pocket money. Well, that's more than I'm living on. It just makes me sick. No one asked them to come. And they're getting looked after much better than they would in any of these other countries. Starmer, you snivelling little shit. Put the British people first. Is that too much to ask? Double standards as usual from Starmer, the harmer. The man is floundering and we're paying for it. He makes me so angry, says Jackie Ward. Me as well, Jackie. And then when he gets a chance to speak to Trump, did you see him? Pathetic. Roseth22 says Starmer is a wimp. Yeah, okay, I agree with you. That's on YouTube. But it's more scary than that. He's in charge. He's also, I don't know, this may have passed you by this week. There's been so much happening. I'm going to have to do some more shows at the weekend. Hold on a minute. Maybe it passed you by. He's sending your children to Ukraine to die fighting the Russians. Donald Trump has said, oh, I'll give air cover, but I ain't sending US troops on the ground. There's no US boots going on the ground. Ever got the feeling you've been cheated? Bodger, Starmer has no clue what to do. That's the sweet, isn't it? Ballroom Blitz. Taxes will go up again to pay for this debacle. Of course it will. Their black hole is doubled already. The grown-ups are back in charge. Don't get me wrong. The lettuce, Johnson and the, what's her name? They were just as bad. They were worse. They're part of the... What's that there on my screen? There's something that's shining on it. I think it's because the sun's out. Anyway, never mind. Paul Whiffen, one of my old mates, he says Starmer will dodge commenting on anything. You're right, Paul. But he's the Prime Minister. We should demand it. All this, of course, is happening while Parliament are on their 6-week holiday. Parliament should be recalled. A state of emergency must be declared. We need the troops on the beach. How many times have I said this? On the beach at Dover. This is what all happen, and you're all going to go, Gaunty predicted all this. The Navy in the Channel, detention camps. I'm not talking about prisons, but camps where they can't go out in the daytime. Because it's ludicrous. They've just admitted the board. When I go for my walk in the morning in the local park, they're often playing football. Good lads. They're well behaved. They are. Idle hands and all that. Where are we? James Morrison. We have vast disused MOD land. No excuse to use hotels. Well, we don't have to use hotels anymore. That's a no-go now. Let me tell you, like I'm predicting. Then we can stop the stupid payments. Uber's like the one in Wakefield using Cedar Court Hotel to make or drop food on e-scooters paid for. Would take 2 hours to stop. Full stop. It's a bit confused, that, James, but I know what you mean. I also know that hotel really, really well. Been there 2 or 3 times with the Police Federation. I think it was West Yorkshire Police I was looking after then. It's a beautiful hotel. Just off the motorway, isn't it? You just drop onto it. And in fact, my cousin Nigel, we're making plans for Nigel. He just lives up the road. Really posh house he's got. And he's got that on his doorstep. Rosseth 22 says a breaking point. Maggie Young, PM just waiting for us all to tire. He's not interested in how we feel. Maggie, as usual, you're spot on the money. He is. He's waiting. See, I thought this today, you see. He's hidden the figures coming out this morning. He's made no comment. There was some junior prick MP sent out to answer questions, but they don't answer questions. I saw a woman, they were talking about O-levels and then, GCSEs, and then she went on. So somebody said to her, "Oh, can you tell us about this?" And she said, "No, I can't talk about that." They're taking us for mugs, Maggie. And then you're right. Then we'll tire of it. We'll get fed up of it. And they'll just do what they want. It's terrible. An interview this morning, a security minister has asked what the alternatives were to the hotels, John, that they want to close in this parliament. He dodged the question numerous times. Yeah, I saw him as well. There's a woman as well, spluttering along. Absolute pathetic, says Craig. You're right, because they keep going on about, yeah, we're going to close all the hotels. So then you say, well, where are you going to put them? And they haven't got an answer. Well, they have got an answer. The answer is this. We're going to put them in houses next door to you, in places like Bedworth, Nuneaton, and that's our local area. They won't be next to Starmer or Yvette Cooper, Mrs. Balls, the people who have ballsed it all up. No. But to you. Lucy made a bad tweet, but she'll make millions on her injustice, most likely become an MP. Fact. Plus, no doubt the lady, the UK's political prisoner of state, not seen since the Thatcher years. James, you've really got to learn to think about what you're writing and then write it, because I don't understand any of that. So I'm just being straight with you. Hi, John. I totally agree with you about what you've said tonight. Thank you. Faith Bowman. John Gaunt, you speak truth and sense. Please tell my wife. Starmer is a disgusting subhuman and he should be kicked out immediately. He doesn't give a shit about the indigenous population. I've never, ever hated anyone so much. Faith Bowman. Thank you, Faith. So I trust you won't be voting for him again. Thank you for your comment. By the way, if you're enjoying the show, please press the like button. 37 today. So I think that's a record. Keep pressing it if you've just joined us. If you have just joined us, it's the John Gaunt podcast. This is live on telly at the moment on John Gaunt TV. If you've not subscribed, do so. It doesn't cost a penny to subscribe. Then you'll find out about all of my shows, when I'm doing them, and you can look back in the archive. But if you do want to donate, feel free. Dead simple. You can do it now while I'm on air on YouTube. You just press that little $sign and donate whatever you fancy, whatever you think I'm worth. Or you can get in touch from www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Right, let's get through some more comments. Hi, John. What I want to know are these hotels covered by insurance, because their policies will only cover them running a hotel, not an asylum hostel. Tell you what, Johnny Roberts, that's a bloody good point. And if they haven't applied for planning, which I would have thought would have been the basic thing you'd have checked, wouldn't you? If you were a multi-million-pound outfit, billion-pound outfit like Serco or one of these hotel companies, you'd have checked that you were covered, wouldn't you? Well, they clearly haven't. Implies to me nobody in government, not just this government, the previous government, the Tories as well, was that bothered. But you're a great point you're making about insurance. Lisa Carville, Brighton is opening itself to migrants. Send them all there and see how they get on. Oh, yeah, they want to be, what do they call it? Something city, don't they? Freedom City. Well, you get on with it, Brighton. You get on. I love Brighton, but you're idiots. A state of emergency must be called and Parliament should be recalled. That's what I say as well, Bodger, so I'm good on that. Coventry City has a lot of empty student accommodation. Just wait a second there, Lisa. I wouldn't go shouting that too much, because I wouldn't put it past our council to use it. Maybe they could use the old swimming pool. They're thinking of demolishing that now, aren't they? I think that's a tragedy. That's a separate issue. John Gaunt is the seeker of truth and justice, says August Moore. Thank you, my friend. Marion Gilmorton Williams says nothing. On the next one, she's got a little emoji looking sad. Hope you're enjoying the show. Bodger's just sent me 99 pence or a quid. Thank you, Bodger. That's a super sticker. Every penny helps, keeps the show going and keeps me developing it. I know we've had no guests this week. I tell you, I've got let down by 2 people this week. I'll try and get them on next week. I think a few people with the bank holiday coming up, they're taking advantage and getting away before the end of the summer. I don't blame them. If I had some money, I'd be on holiday. Craig Marson says, John, do you think if they put them in HMOs, the same will happen as the hotels with planning permission? Well, there's a good point. If you want to change your house to a HMO, I know this because my friend, my showbiz friend, Martine, Maxwell is a surname. What was her first name? Martell. The Scottish girl on that show, Hammer, with the guy who always looks permanently pissed, and with, I'm sure he's not, and Dion Dublin. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I watch it now and again. The stepmother loves it, so we watch that. But Martell, she used to be my stand-in on Sun Talk. Look at her. Now she's making a fortune. And good luck to her. She's good at it. She's very personable. What was your question? Oh, yeah. So if you turn a house into that, I've seen her describing it loads. And Dion, you got to put certain doors in, certain windows in. There's lots of regulation if it's a house of multiple occupation. So you ask a very important question. You do. And like the guy who asked the question about insurance, see, it's days like this where I'd really like to be back on national radio, because what I'd do then, I'd go, Sean, phone up the Association of British Insurers and tell me if that's right. Phone up Martell and say, what do you have to do if it's a home of multiple occupation? I can't do that on my own. But I don't have to worry too much because there's so many people watching my show now and then copying it. I mean, sometimes I listen into radio, because somebody said to me the other day, why were you listening to Radio 5? Well, the honest answer was I couldn't carry on listening to this station I was listening to because it was just like a rerun of my show or shows, but not done very well. Anyway, such is life, you bitter old twat. Shut up, John. It's like the government are sticking their fingers in their ears and say, la, 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 tra, la, 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 la. That's everything that is going on at the moment, says Denise Deacon on YouTube. I agree, Denise. You're completely on the money. France is absolutely beastly. No wonder the refugees are desperate to escape there. Well, yeah, they're not very pleasant to them, are they? I've saw the places on GB News where they're staying. So, of course, they want to get here. The immigration service is broken, says Seasider Mark. The only people smiling now are the millionaire hotel owners and the immigration lawyers. Yeah, that's a good point. I'll tell you something about that, Seasider. They'll be laughing all the way to the bank because they've all got contracts, haven't they? Because they don't just book the hotel for a week, a month, a year. They take it on for 2 or 3. I know the houses now, they're offering 5 years guaranteed rent. So I suppose, oh, look, I'm getting a little thing with the sunlight coming through the window. You can see my green screen in a minute. In a minute, you'll see I'm sitting here in my stockings. Anyway, what was I saying? What's that? The hoteliers, they'll be laughing all the way to the bank, mate, because they've got their money whether they're in there or not. They're not paid per head. They're paid by, I want 200 rooms and I want them for the next 6 years or whatever. So they're quids in. Because, again, everybody in government, whichever party, they never worked in business, so they ain't got a bloody clue, have they? Mick Smith, my old mate. John, today I received an email from our friend Cigar Dave in America after news of Lucy's freedom. And he said, how the hell can Starmer say to President Trump, Britain believes in freedom of speech? I'm laughing, but you're right. And tell Cigar Dave he's right. Starmer just lied. Starmer would lie to anyone. Starmer would throw his granny under the bus if he thought it took the heat off him for what do they call it? Indiscretion. Is anybody going to donate any money tonight? Come on. I've had 99p. I've had, was it £2 a minute ago before the show started? Come on. I need a few more, Bob. Bodger, there's a 4-bedroom council house over the road from me that's been empty for 3 weeks. I'm sure it's going to be converted into a HMO. Well, keep an eye on that. Let me know, Bodge. Dave Whiteman, the HMOs for the refugees. Can we stop using the word refugees? The majority of them are illegal. Well, they're all illegal, but they're economic migrants. Will be found in the HMOs for the refugees will be found in the main immigrant areas of UK cities. They'll be welcomed as heroes there. I'm not sure that's true. But it's an interesting point. Thank you for it. Gaz Wellings, John, what do you think of the British patriots flying our flag high and proud? They'll only grow throughout the country. And then he's got all the flags. He says loud and proud. Yeah, I think it's brilliant. And I say more power to your elbow, Daz. Keep putting them up. Keep putting the flags up. I love the way that the Birmingham City Council got no money, can't empty the dustbins, rats the size of cats, shit everywhere, right? And they're getting upset about people painting the white roundabouts. Now, you shouldn't do that because it's illegal. But you'd think they'd have bigger priorities. But I don't. Yeah. What do I know? I'm just a 2-bit radio presenter in his bedroom in his stockings and suspenders. Well said, John, says Jackie Jones. Thank you. I don't know what for. Dave Smith says, sack the twat. I hope you're not talking about me. Oh, you're talking about Mr. Starmer. Thank you. John, it shows Herma and Starmer were crap lawyers. I think you might mean Yvette Balls. Yes, of course, she's married to Ed Balls. Craig, you're right about Herma and Starmer. If they were such good lawyers, when they got in power, no one's checked, have they? No one's checked. And in the council as well, you've turned it into a refugee, an illegal centre. Is that what you've done? Well, it's different rules. I find it amazing. And I think that question about the insurance, I might phone one of my mates up in Fleet Street and give him a tip on that so he could investigate it. Because if that's true about the insurance, which I'm sure it is, and they're not insured, that's even worse, isn't it? Can you see the sun shining on my face? I can. It only shines on the righteous. Where are we going next? Craig Urquhart, they're not all dangerous, John, but they are all here. Well, that's a fair point. Thank you for that, my friend. 100% agree with you, John, says Faith. Oh, she's the lady. She's the lady who came on. Oh, she was really hard earlier. With you, it's sickening. That 49 quid could go towards pensioners' winter allowance. You're absolutely right. Where are we next? Donald Trump said KS is doing a great job. Lol. He should come to Britain, says Alan Cheetham. Alan, I think you'll find that Trump is the master at flattery and trolling. Did you see where he put Starmer? And if you haven't done this, Google it. In the photo of all the European leaders, right? He's put Starmer right at the end. He thinks Starmer's... He's playing a game with him. My very good friend. Craig says, John, I think more SH will hit the fan. I'm pretty sure it will. Kevin Cunning. Oh, man alive. You are a superhero. He's just donated £9.99 by clicking that $sign on the YouTube video. Thank you ever so much, Kevin. That's very, very kind of you. Some people have been asking me, are you doing a show on Monday? Well, I'm not going anywhere, so I may well do. Dave Whiteman. He's just thrown £1 into the pot. Thank you very much indeed, Dave. Every single pound counts to keep this going and keep it developing. Thank you so much indeed. And don't forget, you can always go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. And they're about a £5 each, I think. But have a go if you fancy. John, thank you for another awesome live stream. Keep up your fantastic work. Your live streams are always awesome. Well, I'm not sure about that, but thank you very much indeed. Hi, John. Give us a shout out. Keep up the good work, says Guitarman14. Yes, Guitarman14. There's your shout out. Alan Cheetham, he's put a little smiley face. I'm running out of time now, boys and girls. Ian Callan, he's not bothered about his own country burning. He's too busy fighting for Ukraine. Well, do you know what, Ian? I think there's some truth in that because he much prefers to be on the world stage than dealing with our problems. And that makes me sick. Graham Hatton. Have we ever had a more inept Prime Minister than Keir Starmer? No, I don't think so. The lettuce, maybe. He fumbles his way through interviews. You can see the cogs working behind his eyes as he's thinking up a half coherent answer, then slowly grinding to a halt. What on earth do the leaders of the other countries think of us? He's turned us into a laughing stock. I agree. Thank you, Graham. Arif Aaron, of course he's silent. What's he supposed to say? Oh, sorry, everyone. I'm a puppet for the WEF, and we are trying to cause unrest so that we can lock you down with digital IDs and currency for your own safety. Arif, freedom for tooting. You're probably too young to remember that. I used to think people like you were just twats, but actually, I'm more thinking there might be something in what you're saying. So I won't do that. But thank you for your comments. John, I'm sure Kevin O'Sullivan is imitating you as you are a broadcast genius. Kevin O'Sullivan, as a radio presenter, a talk presenter, he's a brilliant TV critic because that's what he was. He was a TV critic. Not as good as Ali Ross, of course, on The Sun, who is just a genius at the form. But I wish him well. He's got a job and good luck to him. One day, someone's going to say, do you remember that fat bloke, objectionable, from Coventry? Do you remember him? He got the sack for calling somebody a Nazi. What was his name? Let's get him back on, and maybe we'll get an audience. Maybe. Maybe. Where we go next? Lethatorn Salvatore. I wear my flag proudly on a patch jacket. Used to get looks for how I dress overall. Now my punk style is offensive for being patriotic. That's so true, Salvatore. So true. I think it's only the punks now who do wear the flag. Keep flying it. Keep flying it. Seasider Mark, you are a hero. He's just bunged in a couple of quid, comes up as $1.99. I must have done it on Apple. Look at the sun shining on me. Thank you very much. Jackie Ward, she's given me 3 love hearts again because the other night they were black and I was worried about it, but they're there. All I need now is what's it to give me the 3 claps or the 4 claps. What's her name? You know the woman I'm talking about. Every day she does it. James Morrison says, great show, John. Cheers. I think that's you saying, that's enough, John. And I think you're right. It is enough. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. We didn't get to talk about Lucy enough, but then I don't know what else there is to say about her. She shouldn't have been locked up. I'm glad she's out. I hope she keeps her mouth shut now, just for her own sake. She deserves time now with her family. And there are times when you've got to say, that's enough. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the show, please tell all your friends. That's the best thing you can do for me. Pass the link on. Reshare the stream. Reshare the tweets and the links and all the things, the rest of it. And if you'd like to donate, www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. People have been doing that quite a lot recently. It's anything from a £5 upwards, and you get your name on the bottom. I've got to fill that out again. There's so many more names. So thank you for that. If not, just press the $sign. I'm sorry it sounds like I'm begging, but that's what I'm doing because I need the cash to keep all this going. And that's me done. I'm off. Got to cook some nice little bit of salmon. EastEnders. Got to watch that. Have you seen it? At the moment, it's pretty good. But no, there's not a show tomorrow necessarily. Will I do one tomorrow? I don't know. I might. If not, I'll definitely do one Sunday. I won't be doing one Saturday because I'm going to see the Mighty Sky Blues. Yeah. Oh yeah. In the Prawn Vol-au-Vent section. That's where I'm going, of course. Being invited. I was delighted to say yes. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's that. John, I'm asking that because I know they need to have fire alarms. It's Crag. He's coming back about this insurance question is a really good one. I know they need to have a fire alarm and fire doors, etc. because one of my friend's parents were landlords and had a number of HMOs. Don't know, mate. Don't know. We need to check that with insurance people. Where did she go? I just saw her a minute ago. Maggie Young, another one of my regulars with me 5 claps and a blue love heart. Thank you, Maggie. I was feeling neglected. Hi, John. Great broadcaster. We need you on GB News. What, do you own it? Do you run it? If you do, I'm available. But I don't want to do the graveyard shift. Thank you for your compliments. No good telling me. You need to tell them. But thanks. I'll be back. 44 likes. I've enjoyed it tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it too. See you. There won't be one tomorrow unless I do it during the daytime. But there will be them over the weekend, and I will do one on Monday, unless I suddenly get invited out by somebody. Somebody takes pity on me. So until we talk again, remember, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, 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 don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.